Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I would like to talk to you all about the Minecraft mob vote for this year, and my feelings about it, because boy howdy do I have some feelings about it. So let's just hop right into it. There is a large-scale situation going on with the Minecraft community surrounding the mob vote this year, and that being that people hate the mob vote this year. They don't want to partake in it because they want all three mobs to be in the game. They don't want to have to vote on it, which, sounds nice and it sounds good because, Mojang did such a good job with these three new potential mobs that people just can't decide. But this is going a bit far. This is taking it to a bit of an extreme. There's no reason to be boycotting the vote, Boycotting the vote and trying to encourage and, I don't want to say force, but to try to get Mojang to add all three mobs into the game, instead of just participating with the vote like usual, would actually do more harm than good for the game. And here's why. So, the process of adding one of the mobs into the game is not a short and simple thing. As King B Dogs has described on his Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, on one of his posts there, he outlines the whole process that it takes to add a mob. Now, they have to go through that not once per mob, but twice per mob, because you have Minecraft Bedrock, which runs on C++, and Minecraft Java, which runs on Java, obviously. So they have to do it twice. So if they were to add all three, they would pretty much have to do the process 6 times over, which would just be an insane amount of time to do it when they would normally have to only do it twice. You're asking them to do 3 times the workload for, just a few mobs. It's not like this is some revolutionary new feature. It's just like 2 extra mobs. And it's really not worth all the work, because taking the time to work on adding all 3 mobs would take away from the main update, the time that they have to work on that main update to the game, whatever that may be. What if this update, I think it's 1.21 would be the next update that we're going to get, what if that's the end update that everyone's been clamoring for? What if they have plans to make this large-scale change to the end, because the end is pretty bland right now in comparison to the overworld and the nether with all its different biomes. The end just feels empty, which is kind of the point, but I also would like an end update too, Like, they showed us just the insane amount of life the end can have in the Minecraft Dungeons and the DLC, with all the different plants and weird outlandish creatures. I think it'd be cool to bring some of that over, or at least put some of the spirit of that into the end in, the base game. So I can see why people would want an end update. So what if this is that update? I pose that question to you. What if this is that update? And yet, everyone, almost unanimously in the Minecraft community, is saying, no, we don't care about that. We don't care about how much time it's going to take to develop the main update. We just want these 3 mobs. We want all of them. We don't care how hard the workload is. Just do it at any cost. And that cost is going to be the cost of, the update being bad. The community doesn't like horrible, rushed, low-effort updates. We like things like the, Caves and Cliffs update, the Nether update, these large-scale things that change so much about the game that's just fun to go and explore, not things that are so small like the Buzzy Bees update. And heck, this just recently happened. The community was upset that Mojang didn't put in things that they thought were going to be in the game. Like, they showed off what the revamped birch forests might look like, and then people got mad that those weren't in the game. And, the whole debacle with fireflies, where the community thought, well, we were supposed to be getting fireflies, but then Mojang's like, no, that's not realistic, we can't have those in the game. Even though I feel like they could have easily added them without frogs eating them, could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone, doing it that way. But anyways, my point is that as a community, Minecraft players, I would assume, want a large-scale update, a decently sized one at the very least, with time and effort put into it. So then why then, as a community, are all of the people within it asking for Mojang to take time away from that update just to make extra mobs. It's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard of, and honestly, not to be harsh, but everyone who's supporting this should feel stupid for doing so, for hopping on this bandwagon that isn't good. It's bad. It will hurt the game overall, unless Mojang takes time that they don't have to lengthen their development time for the update. I mean, I want the updates to stay on the same schedule they've been on for however many years the game's been being updated in this manner. You know, I don't want to have to wait longer than I do. And heck, I already have to wait pretty much the longest I have to because I play on Bedrock. I'm a Bedrock player. I could play on Java. I just don't. I prefer Bedrock, which I feel like I'm one of the very few people who do prefer Bedrock, but we exist. Bedrock players exist, and I am one of them. So we don't get a lot of the features early like Java Edition does. We get some of them, but not all of them. And so a lot of the times, to just get everything, we have to wait until the update comes out, you know? The final update. I mean, that's kind of as long as you can get, you know? So I would like to not have to wait any longer than I have to. So we shouldn't be asking Mojang to take more time than is normally required. I think this whole thing with the stop the mob vote, or, you know, boycott the mob vote, or trying to get Mojang to add all three into the game, it should stop, please. It's really just immature, and the people who are supporting it lack the ability to consider the ramifications of their actions on how it might impact other aspects of the game. So, not that, you know, little 174 subscribers Catboy Cheese Grater me saying it is gonna do anything. I know I'm not like some big YouTuber with the push to get it that far. But I mean, I think we should just stop. Just shut it all down. This whole thing has just been a dumpster fire in my opinion. And I really don't think it's sending a good message to Mojang, because we are being so greedy right now as to ask for all three mobs that it's just horrible. But with that being said, I do appreciate the sentiment that Mojang has made 3 amazing ideas for mobs that it would be a shame to see any of them go. And I agree with that. I really do. I want not all 3. I think the armadillo is useless, which I'll get on to that a little later in the video after I'm done with my thoughts on the whole situation here. But I would love to see more than 1 added. But just not at one time. That's the problem and the fault with the logic here, is that we want them all at one time. No, that's not a good way to do things. The better way to do things, in my opinion, would be to vote normally, but then maybe ask Mojang, you know, pose the idea through, you know, social media, Minecraft content creators, that kind of thing, as we usually do as a community, that, hey, maybe these mobs that lose the mob vote shouldn't be disqualified from ever being in the game again. You know, maybe you should just put them in your back pocket, and you should just, you know, hold on to them for a bit. Then maybe if an update were to come around that those mobs would fit into, maybe just put them in there, you know? That kind of thing. Just put them in like a junk drawer type thing. I think that would work really well. So, here's an example of how that could work. So say this update is the end update, and that the armadillo loses. So, instead of saying, oh, armadillo lost, banished to the Shadow Realm with you, you know, what would happen was it would just be put off to the side, you know, in, like, wherever, and then maybe a couple updates down the line, they'd be updating the Savannah biome. And they're like, gee, we really need some life in the Savannah biome, some Savannah-exclusive mobs that would really make this place feel like the actual, you know, real-life places that it's based off of. And so they could look and say, hey, the armadillo is still here. It didn't win, but it's an idea that we had, and so we should use that. And so they would. They'd take that, and they would develop it into a full mob, and I think that could work really well, you know? Maybe I'm not thinking fully about other ramifications, like maybe we wouldn't get as many ideas for new mobs, you know? Because maybe they would have said, instead, if they continue the way they're doing now, instead of reaching from ideas from the past, maybe they could have come up with something new for that, you know, hypothetical update. Like, instead of pulling the armadillo from the past, they could make like a giraffe or a lion or something like that. I don't know. But that's my fix for the solution, at least. I don't really see any major problems with it now. Um, I feel like it helps both sides equally. Everyone gets what they want. And then maybe at the very end of the game's life cycle, because, eventually, Mojang is going to stop supporting Minecraft. That's a hard truth about it. There's no way that Minecraft goes on forever. As sad as that might be, Minecraft will end eventually. The updates for it will end. So maybe at the very end of Minecraft, at the very last update, Mojang will just say, okay, every mob that lost the mob vote will get added. I think that'd be a good idea too. So maybe we should focus less on telling Mojang to add all 3 right now, and focus more on saying, hey, we get it's a lot to make mobs in the game. It's a long process, it's very difficult, and you have to do it twice because of both versions of the game. So we get that, and we will vote accordingly like we have been in the past. So what we want you to do is to not necessarily ban those mobs from ever being in the game again. Just put them in your back pocket for now, put them aside, and then maybe down the line later you can add them. I think that's a better way of going at it than this chaos that has been the, upending of the Minecraft mob vote, So I encourage you all to vote for your favorite. Please vote. I don't care what it is. Even if it's the armadillo, which I hate and I think is useless and is probably one of the most useless mobs that could ever be in the game. Still, vote. I don't care what you vote for, just vote. Please preserve the democracy of Minecraft and just keep things going as they should. I think that, I don't think Mojang's going to comply with this whole adding 3 mobs thing in one update. That seems like a bit much. I don't want them to do that. And it reflects poorly on the community as a whole that we're really greedy. So, I really hope things go smoothly. I can't guarantee anything, but fingers crossed for the update and the mob vote all going smoothly. I want a good update, good mob vote, everything. So please participate as you normally would. Thank you. Now on to the second part of the video, which is my opinion on which mob should win, or which mob I'm going to vote for at least. So let's go through our options here. We have the first one revealed, which was the crab. The crab is kind of cool. He's blue, and as we all know, blue mobs win the mob vote, so he's probably going to win. I don't know. But, so, it's in the, the swamps, the mangrove swamps, which did kind of recently get updated, because the frogs and all that kind of stuff, so they've already kind of recently been updated, which is kind of something going against the crab. But the upside to the crab is that you would have access to a new item called the Crab Claw, which would allow you to build further. Now, as a Minecraft Bedrock player, I already have further block placing reach than the people on Java, so I kind of already have this feature. Take the L on that one, Java Edition. But anyways, I think that'd be a very useful feature. As someone who builds a lot in Minecraft, I often find myself just 1 or 2 blocks out of reach for placing blocks. And that's something interesting in the wording of the trailers for these mobs, is that they didn't say, if I recall correctly, they didn't say, just anything to do with, they said placing blocks, is what I'm trying to get at. They didn't say mining blocks. So, something tells me that it's not going to be something where, you can place and break blocks at the same distance. I feel like it would only let you place blocks, but then if you made a mistake, you would have to go over there physically like you would, just normally building and break it yourself, which is a little bit of a downside as well. So, I like the crab well enough. I think it's it's okay. I might end up voting for it. So on to the armadillo. Like I said previously in this video, I don't like the armadillo very much. It's my least favorite mob of the whole thing, and I think the item that it has is little to no use, and here's why. So the armadillo would spawn in savanna biomes, which do need a bit of an update because they are often very lifeless. So that's kind of a point for it. But let me ask you this. What is the last time that you took a pet wolf in Minecraft into any combat scenario? I can wait, because if you're like me, you could name the number of times that you've done such a thing on a double amputee's arms, or fingers, I suppose, because you never do it, ever. I have never once, in my time of playing Minecraft, used a wolf intentionally in a combat scenario. So, if that's the case, why would I want to add a mob that would come with an item that I'm not going to use ever? Because if you have wolf armor, that's not going to change anything. I'm still not going to take the wolf into combat with me because I would be too afraid that it would still die, because you can still die with armor. That's not going to change that fact. It doesn't make the wolf immortal. Unless you can equip him with a Totem of Undying on his collar, then he won't die, but even then, I still hardly ever use wolves in general, because a lot of the times when I come across them, I am on the very start of my world, and I don't have the bones to tame them. So I just end up, leaving them behind. And by the time that I do have bones for them, I've probably already established a nice little base, and I don't really need to go out and scavenge around the area for wolves. I don't need to. It's not a necessity. So a lot of the time, I don't end up using them. And when the very little times that I do use them, I just have them sit in my base, and I nickname them with a name tag, and I change the color of their collar, and that's about it. The last time I used a wolf was on a server with some of my friends at the time, and I found a wolf, I tamed it, I dyed its color green, and I named it Hamilton because I'm a huge nerd, and that's about it. It just sat there, did nothing until we just nuked the whole server. And so he probably died. Rest in peace, I suppose. But that's the last time, and it wasn't even in combat scenario. So the armor for the wolves is not something that's very appealing to me. This is kind of a useless mob, in my opinion. I would have much preferred it if instead of an armadillo it was a capybara, but it wasn't. So I'm probably not going to vote for it. Least likely to vote for is the armadillo. Now on to the last one. The penguin. More specifically, the macaroni penguin. But it's not called the macaroni penguin, it's just called the penguin, which I think is a really, really big missed opportunity. I hope if it gets in the game, they name this spawn egg macaroni penguin spawn egg. I hope the mob's called the macaroni penguin, because it is a macaroni penguin, the best kind of penguin, overall. Mojang could have just went with some bland old standard penguin model, but no, they chose to make a macaroni penguin, which has a lot of respect for me. Because macaroni penguins are very silly. They have a very silly name. I love macaroni penguins. Out of all the types of penguins, they are so funny. And they even have the little yellow thingies, because that's why they're called macaroni penguins to begin with, I believe. So I'd really like to send it to the game. And it's a shame that in a lot of fan polls that people are doing, that the penguin is often coming in third. That's a shame, but I can see why. Because the penguin, its effect, the only thing that it would bring into the game is just makes your boat faster, and that's kind of useless because boats are already plenty fast, and you can already make them faster if you put them on blue ice, because that just makes them go really fast. And I don't know how Mojang would implement this faster boat ability regarding the penguin. Now, if they made it similar to Dolphin's Grace, where the penguin just swims alongside you while you're in a boat and it speeds you up, that's boring, and I don't blame you for not voting for the penguin, even though I really want macaroni penguins in the game, because I think they'd make a really good addition. But I won't blame you. However, if Mojang added this ability in the way that the penguin has to be riding with you in your boat for you to get the speed boost, I think we should all vote for it. But that's the whole problem. We don't know how they're going to add it into the game, which is really just a shame. I think Mojang should give us a little bit of detail about how each mob's feature will work in the game, because it's these little things like this that really decide the vote for me, because I'm kind of torn between the penguin and the crab. If the penguin had to ride in the boat with you to get the speed boost, I would vote for the penguin. But if not, then I'd probably vote for the crab. It's a really, really specific thing, and that makes it really difficult to choose. But ultimately, if I had to choose, if someone put me in a life or death situation and told me to tell them the mob that I was going to vote for in Minecraft, in this mob vote, I would probably say the crab. As sad as it is, and as much as I want macaroni penguins in the game, I don't really think they have enough support. If they're already losing in the fan polls, then, they're probably going to lose in the main thing, I would imagine. Though, maybe the fan polls aren't actually consistent with what a majority of the players think, because there's more than one way to vote. It's not just on Twitter. I think they're going to probably let you vote through the actual game this year like they did last year. So, who knows? Maybe there's just a ton of people who don't use Twitter who want penguins in the game. I really, really genuinely hope that is the case, because I want to see penguins added in the game. But, who knows? I certainly don't. Best of luck to the penguin, middle of luck to the crab, and no luck to the armadillo. I don't like the armadillo. Please don't put it in the game. I don't want it in the game. It's useless. I will never use it whatsoever. So, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on everything regarding the mob vote. Obviously it's a vote, and these are just my opinions, so please vote how you wish, but please, just vote. That's all that matters, because your vote matters. And so does this update as a whole, really. This will be not like a make or break thing, but depending on the way Mojang reacts to this whole thing, it might change the update and change this game negatively forever. So please, 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 I cannot stress this enough, vote. For any of the mods, just vote. All it takes is a simple click of a button. Just vote. That's gonna be about it for me. See you in the next one.